You're listening to Talking Heads on Manx Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in this afternoon. Muriel, Garland and Vicky Christian are here from IOM Freethinkers to tell us about their part in Dying Matters Awareness Week, which is this week. And they're organising something on Sunday called the Death Cafe. All right, you've hooked me. A provocative title. So what are you going to be serving? Hemlock at this thing? I mean, Vicky Christian, tell me about...
Hopefully, we haven't actually planned any hemlock or any other banned substances, but there will be coffee and cakes on sale at the Tower House Cafe, and we're delighted that they have agreed to let us share their space on Sunday lunchtime, which is their busiest time of the week, to hold our Death Cafe.
So go on then, you've hooked me in. What is the Death Cafe all about?
Well, it is an attempt to make people aware of the need to talk about death. Death is a big taboo amongst people. They are frightened almost that if they talk about it, it's kind of inviting it to come somehow.
Tempting providence.
Yes, but Muriel and I, as funeral celebrants, know how important it is that when we meet bereaved families, we hope that they have discussed the death of the person who has died, and discussed what they want, for instance, in terms of funeral plans.
Well, I mean, as a celebrant, Muriel, and I've dealt with humanist celebrants a couple of times, and they're very good because they'll sit down with the family and take details about the dearly departed and have stuff to be able to say about it. So do you not cover that sort of post-mortem anyway? Is there any need to talk about it while you're alive?
Well, it's taking responsibility for your own funeral in a way. It's thinking about, what sort of music would you like? If we said that you can have 3 pieces of music.
Well, I'm going to be cremated, so it's going to have to be Burned by Deep Purple, I think, just as the coffin disappears behind the curtain.
And there's things like some people don't like cut flowers. They don't want any wreaths or cut flowers at their funerals. And if you write it down, then the family know what your wishes are.
Okay, but is this the sort of thing that is easy to discuss with family without them worrying that you're thinking of checking out? I can just imagine conversations around the Isle of Man this week about, are we going to be having Sunday lunch with you, Grandma, this weekend? No, actually, I'm going to the Death Cafe. It's bound to make. Are you ill?
I think our Death Cafe is really a safe place to talk about death and dying. Preferably, if you've got your loved ones with you, that's fine. And in fact, we're even suggesting bringing children, because we'll have a children's activity tucked away in a corner, so that if you want to talk serious stuff with the other people there, then that's fine. There will be something for younger ones to do.
How much do you think people should prepare for the... Because we're all going to die. I mean, there's nothing more sure, is there? We're all going to die, but it is tempting providence. I mean, are you suggesting that people ought to have a death plan where... there is a secret file somewhere that in the event of my demise, open this envelope and it tells you exactly what I want to do?
I think that would be an excellent idea to have that. I mean, one of the things that we come across is you may well carry an organ donor card in your wallet, for instance, but you need to have discussed it with your family, because as things stand at the moment, your family can actually deny your organs. So that's the sort of thing that we need to have in writing somewhere, that your family, and knowledge that your family have talked about it as well.
Even things like wills. I mean, an awful lot of people haven't made a will. I did one a few years ago, because I think we talked about this kind of thing on the programme, and somebody said, we should all have a will, however young you are. So a lot of people still don't do that, because, again, they're afraid of tempting providence, aren't they?
I think that's it. You think about it vaguely when you're younger. But people should have it. And
it's very abstract until you get to middle age.
Isle of Man will, because some people have made wills in England, and the law is slightly different in the Isle of Man.
And it's not expensive, is it? I mean, a simple will's going to cost, 150 quid, a couple of £100 maybe?
There are solicitors, I don't know if they do it over here, where they do it for a charity sometime in November.
We have made our wills through that scheme, whereby you go and you get your will made for a fee,
Yes.
which is then donated to cancer research or something like that.
Right, okay. And I think Age Isle of Man probably do some
Yes.
I think they might do a service like that. It's worth checking.
I think, can I just add something about writing it down and talking about it to the family, that it's a kind thing to do for your family,
Yeah.
to talk about your own death. It's a really kind thing to do, because in the turmoil and the distress of your death, that's one less thing for them to worry about.
Yeah.
They need to know they're getting it right for you. And
What are you actually going to do on Sunday? So we're all being grown up about it. We're all saying, yes, we're all going to die sometime, and it's worthwhile making plans. But, I mean, what are you actually going to discuss on Sunday at this Death Cafe?
Well, it'll just be sort of individual conversations, really. We've got some leaflets to distribute, and we've got cards with conversation starters.
You're not going to have loads of funeral directors there touting for
Oh,
business.
no. It's so much about living as dying.
Right, okay.
But we will have people there. Well, Muriel and I will be there, so we're celebrants. There will be somebody there who works for Cruise Bereavement Care, so you can
Good.
talk about what the possibilities. Then there will be somebody there from organ donors,
Yes.
to talk that through with
Oh,
anybody
good.
who's got queries about organ donation. So there will be some people there who are particularly qualified to talk about death.
Well, yeah, that's important because, I mean, we've all seen those old black and white films where, the doctor says to the patient, well, I'm afraid, Mr. Peters, you need to put your affairs in order. I wouldn't know how to begin putting my affairs in order necessarily. I mean, I made a will, but that's kind of as far as... So is this a case of maybe outlining to people how to put their affairs
Well,
in
it's the
order?
passwords to your computer.
Yeah,
Things
of
like
course.
that.
A file somewhere on your shelf labelled in the event of my death that
Yeah.
everybody in the family knows about,
Yes.
that's got your bank details, your anything that they will need to know
Of
to
course,
take the
yeah.
whole file to the lawyers with them or wherever.
Well, and especially now that everything's online.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
if you want
yeah.
your executor to have access to your cash or whatever, you need to give them that information,
Yes,
don't you?
yes,
But then you've
yeah.
got the danger of writing it down somewhere and making it less secure, maybe. So,
Well, in a
Well,
locked box.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, so if anybody's listening to this and think, oh, go on, why not? I'll go to the Death Cafe. When is it? Is
Between
it
12 and 2 on Sunday
at Tower House in Douglas?
Yes.
And
yeah.
anybody's welcome to come down. You're
Anybody
not going to
at
charge
all,
them.
yes. And bring the children, because there's something for them to do as well.
And if you're, I mean, this is Freethinkers, but if you've got faith and
It's nothing to do with
Nothing
faith
to do
or
with
lack
that.
of faith. It is purely and simply to be talking about dying.
pragmatic stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Muriel, Garland, Vicky, Christian from IOM Freethinkers. Thank you very much indeed for coming in today.